everybody should have a real estate agent like Jim DePaula. You were so good in you weren't doing it, like I said, on your schedule. You were working on what I needed, and that was greatly appreciated, because I was sort of here and there and up and down and back and forth, and you absolutely were working for me. You were trying to make what I wanted to happen. So I really appreciate that. There was no pressure, and you understood where I was coming from, and that was greatly appreciated, Jim.
I really appreciate that. Tom came to us in 2019, and he was an empty nester, and he was retiring from government life and wanted to move to a different part of the state. And he came to me, and he just wanted to find out what his house was worth and get a plan on selling his home up in Palm City. He wanted to have an idea of what he would net. He's in the financial world, so he understands numbers really well, important to him. So we had to do a seller net sheet and try to figure out everything. In 2019, we felt that his house was worth roughly, we thought the house was going to be worth about $325,000 when we sold it then, partly because the roof was so old. We were at higher interest rates then. We were in the fives. In 2019, at the time that he was going, the market looked like it was shifting a little bit towards in 2019. Powell was talking about inflation again. He had done that in 2018. He was starting to worry again. We didn't know what was going to happen. But Tom said, there's one thing. I really don't want to sell the house because I don't want my cat not to have a place, and I know I want to get a rental after this, and I know it's going to be hard to get a place for my cat.
And it goes along with like our philosophy of like, you move when it's right for you. And it's not always about like, are we at the peak or is it a great time? It's a good time when it's right for you and your family.
He was a little upside down, years earlier. He didn't want to get stuck in that trap again, but Jacko held on. So 2019, no sell. Okay. 2020, Jacko's still holding in during COVID, right? Screw COVID. He's still kicking around, right? Then in 2020, Tom couldn't take it anymore, and he replaced the roof, right? So the cat still hangs on in 2020. 2021, cat's still kicking. Through the whole time, we're calling Tom every few months. Hey, Tom, how's it going? Just checking in.
This cat has something figured out. He's been faking his own demise for 3 years. He's probably getting so much love and treats and like extra food.
Yeah. He absolutely was pulling my leg.
So then 2022 comes, and Jacko passed.
Oh.
Rest in peace, Jacko. So we had to sit down and go over the comps. And I had all the old stuff from 2019 still in the computer. I had the comps saved based on 2019. So I had to refresh everything. So we were thinking 325 in 2019. So let me look up
before investing in a new roof.
Before putting on the new
investing and doing a resurface of the pool.
Thanks to Jacko, a lot more than we were hoping. So we put the house on the market in September of 2022 for $535,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So we put it on the market. Now this is, remember, September 2022. What was happening in September 2022?
Rates were going back up.
Yes, the rates were going back up to a record high. I go, we'll find your buyer. We just haven't found the right buyer yet. And then we just within the next 10 days, because on day 40 is when we went into contract. So we went into contract, October 26th is when we went into contract. And we were on the market 535. They were able to close early, so everybody was happy with that. And then we closed. So we thought we were going to sell the house for 325, and we put the house on the market for 535. What did we close?
You said new roof?
Yeah, we had a brand new roof. The pool was brand new. The kitchen and the bathrooms were original. The carpeting was original.
Mm-hmm.
Probably needed a paint job on the inside. The outside was freshly painted, if I'm not mistaken. I think so, Tom, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we ended up getting was 525 on a 535 list price at one of the highest interest rates of last year. And we still got it. Had a super smooth closing. Yeah, it was such a smooth process once we got it under contract. So thanks to Wacko Jacko, holding on for 3 years. he made Tom exactly $200,000 more than he would have if he put the house on the market in 2019. That had to make you feel a little better
Wow.
because you walked away with a little bit of equity, even after paying for that roof and that pool.
Yeah.
You walked away with a lot more equity than you
Exactly.
thought.
And that's, and you mentioned earlier, you try to force your timing. Sometimes the timing happens the way it happens. Thank you, Jacko. Like I said, it helped out on that. And at a time when, like I said, the sales were starting to fall off, that was the exact right buyer to show up at that time. They were the good ones to work with, and it couldn't have been a better buyer at the time. It just worked out so good. Thank you, Jacko, again. I got a house with a little yard and a rental that's in a nice place. It worked out real well.
It's beautiful.
And he's closer to his family in Central.
Not only getting me out of there, got me into here.
Yeah.
Timing, you can't control timing. Sometimes the world just works in the way it wants to, not the way you want to.
So what I'm wondering is we built a relationship basically over 3 years, the Florida Talk real estate team and Tom, as he's going through the process. And did you ever feel pressured by us to do something that you didn't want to do? Because that's really important in today's market. Everybody's so confused right now. A lot of people I'm meeting with or trying to meet with are afraid that if they meet with me that or my team, that they're going to be high pressured into doing something, and the market's kind of tricky. And what I explain to people, we work on your time frame, not on our time frame. Did you feel any pressure over those 3 years that I was trying to get you to do something that really isn't what you wanted to do or in your best interest?
No, Jim, you touched on the point that I was just going to say. Everybody should have a real estate agent like Jim DePaula. You were so good in you weren't doing it, like I said, on your schedule. You were working on what I needed, and that was greatly appreciated, because I was sort of here and there and up and down and back and forth, and you absolutely were working for me. You were trying to make what I wanted to happen. So I really appreciate that. There was no pressure, and you understood where I was coming from, and that was greatly appreciated, Jim.
I really appreciate that,